Man, we're going to talk about a little bit of island hopping, and then let's jump right into should we pay players. What do you pay them? How do you pay them?
Seashells work?
Seashells definitely will work.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic, man.
Do it.
All that and more, you just never know what's going to come up next.
We get to this island, bro, and it's time to eat dinner, right? You got to eat. We start walking for the center of town, and I hear a guitar playing. A little this, a little that. What comes out? Well, some good old-fashioned 80s rock music in English. Look,
Yeah.
I don't care where you're going to eat. You're in another country. The predominant language is not English, and you hear a man singing 1980s rock in English, you go there.
Yeah.
The food is horrible, absolutely wretched. But what a good night to sing about singing. Every song you ever heard in the 80s, 90s, or today, that man played for 3 hours.
Yeah.
He goes to leave. We've all got a collection going. We thought this was a normal deal, right? You got to pay the player, right?
Pay the
We
player.
walked up with like 40, 50, I don't know, there's like 10s at the table. We're all throwing 5s or 10s in the middle of the table. Oh boy, we got Monopoly money. You just won the lie on the go,
Yeah.
whatever it's
Hey,
called.
man, when it's your turn, you got to bring it, baby. If you bring
He
it,
walks up.
you get paid.
We slide the girl to the back of the table, man. She walks up. Excuse me, sir. Hands him like a fat cash. I mean, it was mostly small bills, but it had to be 100 here, man. Oh boy, stop what he was doing. He didn't go anywhere. Right back to the guitar. Nobody else paid this dude.
Man, so our show is a living, breathing entity.
It is.
It's been a big topic lately. We really should do a show on this specifically, I think. It's been a big topic lately about how not necessarily that wages, I think the focus is wages are low. I think that wages are not appropriately assigned. And I have an example because you just said it. Just this week, I'm at a restaurant. I think here in town. I don't think it was in Branson. I think it was here in town. They had a live band. And they have a sign when you go in the door and it says, band is only paid by tips. Bubba, that's some bullshit. If the reason I walk in that building is because I heard the band play, you should be paying the band. I ain't saying you got to give them like a couple grand, but you need to be paying them for their time, man. You need to be throwing them a couple $100 a person to come down there and rock the house out. If they end up making $1,000 in tips, they might, but they probably don't. They probably only make $200 or $300 in tips. Man, but I don't know. But just
look. This is what I know. If me and you own a place, and we could pack it every Friday or Saturday night or ladies' night or pick a night with just some Johnny Walker in there playing his guitar, bro, I would feed that man all the free drinks and chew on things he could eat because he's packing the house.
Yeah.
My job, and I'm telling you, bro, listen to me. The food was unedible. I got my steak and it was cold in the middle. I don't mean red, bro. It was charred through and cold. Paige made me eat some of her, what's the evil little thing that lives in the ocean?
Oh, the octopus? Yeah, I've seen pictures.
Ah, yuck. She lied to me and said it tasted good. I halfway through chewing and she's like, it's horrible, isn't it? Why would you do it? Because she's evil, that's why. My buddy in front of me, he asked the waitress, I will buy anything on this menu. You just tell me what to order. I want your best thing. And she's like, the cod salad. It is perfect. It's amazing. He takes a bite. He's a fisherman.
Yeah.
He has fish he doesn't cook. He just eats them. And he takes a bite and says, this is the worst fish I've ever eaten in my life. This is the worst fish I've ever had. And like, he's making jokes about eating it. He's just like, oh, see if I don't throw up on this one, guys.
Yeah.
It is the food is horrible. We didn't go anywhere because old boy's playing and the beer is cold.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you just throw back a little bit of Superbach and sing along with the dude playing it out because he was jamming. The food was horrible. There's not a single person on the inside of the restaurant. They're just all ganged around this guy like it was a little live band. How do you feel about players getting paid? And have you put these thoughts?
So it's amazing to bring that up because just today the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that the NCAA rules are too strict and it would sound like an error. I haven't read the opinion yet. There's no dissent to read because it's a unanimous decision. But and I think they should be paid. I don't know how they should be paid. I haven't really come up with some guidelines, but just this week, just for example, the next Manning child, Arch Manning, the grandson, is the son of the oldest boy that didn't make it into football programs anywhere. He goes down to Texas, and they put him in the Texas uniform while he's down there visiting the campus, and they take lots of pictures, and it's his social media. Do you not think that Texas is going to use this in their, enticing people to go to school there for the rest of the year? Absolutely. That results in dollar signs.
You're not wrong a bit. And, sir, if he could be sponsored in high school, forget college for a second, how much would he be? Who would always sponsor him? Just because you cannot turn on a recruiting show without his name coming up. This man creates buzz everywhere.
Oh man, I don't even want to think about the high school stuff yet, but you're right. Like he's obviously drawing tickets sales at the school. He's filling the stands. They're all going, and it's not even locals. I bet the locals are getting beat out by people in other counties and other states are driving just to come watch him play. Just because they can't. They just want to say, I seen him play in high school. I would go if I was closer. I would go.
Absolutely. You have a chance of watching maybe the best player to ever throw a rock.
Yeah. And I don't know. Do I really think that high school age children should have their jerseys being sold, their name on it? I don't know, man. I'm kind of college athletics now possibly could be paid because the Supreme Court says the NCAA says this isn't right. Now, the Supreme Court didn't say tomorrow.
Sure,
y'all need to be paid, and I haven't read yet how many states, but there's already several states that are already rushing to pass legislation to allow their students to be paid because they know if they don't, they're all going to be playing for Notre Dame next year because Notre Dame's going to say, "Yeah, we'll pay every player that's here."
So
come
Arkansas
up here.
was one of the first schools to pass it. The state of Arkansas passed it a long time ago. They've been waiting for this to happen because if you're a state like Arkansas, which is really funny, because your exact argument why you say it's keep it in there is Alabama's argument why they should not to share any of the profits from selling their players' jerseys. And the SEC has said, yes, you do. We are going to collect all revenue and share it. And they said, but why?
The name SEC.
We allow you to play on our platform, on our channel, in our conference. You are not bigger than us.
Yeah, the SEC has their name is on the jersey, and you are an SEC school. So there's a lot of different claims. There's a lot of different things in that money. And I hate to be quoting Barack Obama, when he was kind of trying to claim that you didn't make it on your own. Other people built the road or something for you. But that's kind of the thought process is you couldn't even be here if it wasn't for the SEC. And and we're all in this together as far as the SEC goes.
Yeah, it's interesting though.
Because I think though that whoever's jersey it is, the proportion of the money should be different. It may be some of it goes to the pod, but it sure seemed to me like the school who sells 30 players jerseys and they sell the most jerseys, they should definitely profit more than the school that, Texas Tech or something that didn't sell any jerseys. Like with your jersey, you get a 5, and then if you don't, you only get a 1. You know what I'm saying?
All I'm hearing is Ted is saying Arkansas is going to win 2 games a year for the rest of existence. Go Texas.
I don't know why you got that
because Texas accidentally is going to sell 5 times the jerseys of an Arkansas.
They probably would, but I'm sure that I'm sure their viewer base is larger than Arkansas's is too, just in state.
Okay,
could you imagine?
Because this is a way bigger thing than popularity. So Ted, let's talk about how do you pay players? What happens when
I don't know, but don't you think there's more people watch Texas games than Arkansas games? There's only 2.5 million people in Arkansas.
Sure.
How many people watch Texas play in Texas? Huh?
More than that.
It's probably 10 million people, wouldn't you think?
Probably so. But
yeah, of course they're going to sell more. But
so more fans means you get better facilities. Not
necessarily, because Arkansas's facilities are right up there. Arkansas can't blame their facilities on why they don't win games.
No, their facilities are amazing right now.
And in fact, Arkansas's reason for losing, who I still believe started somewhere in a booster or somebody in the university, somebody who's made somebody mad in the SEC, but this all started way back, when we were winning, when we had the Springdale offense, we were winning, and somebody in the front office didn't pull Houston aside and say, Houston, you need to take a couple of weeks off and let this blow over. Because of mishandling that event, it's been downhill ever since, in my opinion. I mean, we were winning when we had old motorcycle wreck. Man, we were back.
We were a dominant team when he left, and we made one bad coaching hire because we hired the big name that was available. And I really think Bielema had us trending in the right direction until he got addicted to alcohol. And
that's very possible. And I don't know why all of his ideas didn't work here. That's more so. But I really understand. I really get pissed when I read articles and they want to badmouth Arkansas. I read another one today. Do sports writers, when they have nothing to write about that day, do they just write articles about why Arkansas should be in the Big 12? Is that what they go to?
Yeah, so there's a big push that's been going on for years. The Sports Writers Association is mad that Arkansas left the Big 12 because I don't know why. But so the desire is to get us back there is the best I can tell. And if you look on the richest programs in college athletics, Arkansas comes in at number 20. There is no way Arkansas is going to be in the top 20 if they're in the Big 12. In the Big 12, the number one college program in all athletics is Texas. The next Big 12 program is Oklahoma. The next one is at one second, I'll find one. Is at 28 in Kansas. If Arkansas left the SEC, they would be 30th or worse. But they get a huge chunk of money in revenue sharing from the SEC. So that's obviously helping. The number one and number two programs in all college athletics hail from Texas and Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So it is ironic to me that Texas and Texas A&M, who are not even worthy to be talked about in college football because they are terrible programs, are the two greatest programs in college football just because of the money. And
there you go. So being rich doesn't win games.
I agree with you, but it also isn't right but again, this is why people hate college and love the pros.
What's not right?
The pros are even.
What's not right?
That an amateur sport can be dictated by boosters. Because all things are supposed to be equal in amateurs. Supposed to be.
You're kind of losing me here. I don't know. What are you mad about? You mad that Texas has got all the money and they can't win a game?
No. I'm not mad about anything. It's what it is. There's a reason I'm a Hog fan, because I enjoy losing in this.
But college sports is not amateur, man. It's a ticket into the lottery to the NFL.
Well,
the best
of college basketball and baseball and soccer and everything else. NCAA is not just football.
I also kind of think, do some of these sports writers, they just mad at Arkansas is just like owned every other sport in the nation this year, and that's why they think we should be in the Big 12 because they get.
That is pretty funny. I was literally listening to an article today. You probably the same one, and they were talking about how Arkansas football is the only Arkansas program, the only Arkansas sport that they do not threaten every year to win the championship.
Oh, no, I didn't read that one. This author, he was the opinion that Arkansas just sucks dick. And, they're like, Arkansas would be a much better fit in the Big 12, because they just stink it all up down here at the SEC,
So the truth is, if Arkansas was in the Big 12 and could maintain the resources and the players, we would be an 8 to 10 or 12 win team every single year. The problem is you cannot maintain the money and the resources in the Big 12 because they do not have profit sharing, which is why everybody worth having leaves the Big 12.
So, yeah, I agree. I mean, you're right. You're right. You couldn't stay the same. We wouldn't stay equal. The author forgot about that part.
Right. There'd be no $175 million every year to Arkansas. No,
and Arkansas is not going anywhere. They're in the SEC, and Bubby, our turn's coming, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
all right, let's talk about basketball because I don't have numbers on football.
Hey, man, we're probably the number one. Basketball's probably the number one program in the nation right now.
So yeah, we're ranked well in the top 10 by everybody.
Yeah.
So last year, the NCAA signed an 8-year extension with CBS Sports to continue letting them have the road to the Final Four. That extension was worth $8.8 billion with a B dollars. The article was listing reasons that you should or should not pay basketball players. The major reason they said you shouldn't is the moment you tell schools they have to pay them, when do schools say, well, if we're paying you, we're no longer paying your medical. We're no longer paying for your scholarships. We're no longer paying for your food stipends. We're no longer paying you for to eat. We're no longer giving you workout equipment and workout clothes and all these other benefits. I don't remember it all. But he said, at what point did they say, hey, you got your money. You better figure it out, sir. You're an employee now. And oh, by the way, now you're paying all these taxes because you're an employee. And he said it'd be better if money went into a trust that they could access later on, that like, here's a lump sum when you leave school.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the right or wrong. And I definitely agree with you on the fact that, so I'm torn on 5 directions. I think that if you sell a jersey and your name is on it, you should get paid some kind of money for that. I don't think if they sell a $100 jersey, you deserve $90 of it. It's probably more like you get 10 cents.
Even the pro players don't get.
No.
They don't get 90% of it.
You probably get a nickel a jersey or something. Because who knows what the profit margin really is. But the NCAA is worth something like $2 billion or more. I don't know what it's a big number. I didn't write it down in time before I closed the phone. But to me, there's no reason. The NCAA makes a lot of money, Ted, off of all these sporting programs. I don't know what they're covering, but they're not paying anything, by the way. The NCAA doesn't pay for any of the fields, doesn't pay for any of the colleges, doesn't pay for any of the events. So I don't really know how they're collecting all this money. When what are they putting out?
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, the sales are already there. We're already buying. We already buy hats, and everything. Every time you buy a hat at Walmart, a portion of that licensing, goes back to the NCAA. But you're right. I mean, the sales are already there for all of this. We may not have individual player jerseys. I don't know that I'd really even be into buying individual players stuff. Maybe, I don't know. It just kind of depends. It's kind of an emotional thing. I mean, when Matt Jones scored the running touchdown to Little Rock, I probably would have went and bought a Matt Jones T-shirt.
Honestly, I wish I still had my Matt Jones jersey from when I was like, I don't know, when he played for the Jaguars. Because Matt Jones, I never would have dreamed he'd be Matt Jones till 20 years later.
Yeah, but I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong for any player to put their body on the line at a school event like like at an SEC and an NCAA school here at Arkansas or LSU or Texas or Oklahoma. Doesn't matter where you have a chance of getting hurt, and you're not even getting paid.
I think the first step is you've got 100% all scholarships. There's no reason why I should go out there and get hurt in practice when I'm my first day in college, and they tell me, "Hey, man, hope you didn't move in yet."
Well, thankfully at Arkansas, you move off of an athletic scholarship and move on to an academic one, but they do cover your scholarship at Arkansas if you do get hurt and you can't continue to play your sport. But that should be everywhere.
Yeah,
shouldn't even be a question.
So,
and it's not all about football and basketball. I mean, it could be tennis and soccer and softball and
So soccer doesn't even have scholarships. I found that out the other day. Neither does softball. Men's baseball only covers it by semester by semester.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you start playing in January, you gotta hope you get re-up before the playoffs start, because you could be playing ball out there and then let you know, hey man, you're not playing this fall. Good luck. Enjoy the rest of the playoffs. So that's a little weird to me. That should definitely be fixed up.
So I hate to say have scholarships, but baseball in Arkansas, we win a lot.
We do.
Isn't it amazing? Maybe I've just missed it. We've been winning a while now. We're like on our 8th or 9th, 10th, consecutive year of being pretty far along in the playoffs.
And no championships.
Man, what I got to say is worse than that, I think. We're still just talking about Baum Stadium. Baum Stadium is smaller than Arvez Park. I'm not saying we need a major league baseball field for our team to play in, but shouldn't it at
It is
least
like
be
you
as big
did.
as a minor league baseball field?
So, do they make any money? I know that's not supposed to matter, but
Well, if you only got 10
tiny
tickets, I mean, there's only 10 seats. How many could you make any money? You know what I'm saying? That's a tiny little thing, man.
little thing.
There's high schools have bigger. I bet you that the Fayetteville High School baseball stadium is as big as Baum Stadium.
Probably so. Probably so.
I think Baum Stadium, it's an embarrassment to me. And you have to park across the street, across a 4-lane road, and then you have to just stop traffic so everybody can get across the street both ways, to the park and back to the park. And it is nice. And I think that maybe some of the push is because right now you can take your ice chest in and sit in the grass and drink a beer. As long as it's in a solo cup, they don't care what you drink. But
did you get the chance to watch the games in the first weekend playoffs? So both commentators were just overwhelmed at how nice Baum Stadium was.
It is nice. I know it's nice.
It surprised me because I don't remember how old it was, but I Googled how old it was during it. And I could not believe how old the stadium was. And it just made me go like, dude, how much of crap holes is everywhere else if this 40 or 50-year-old stadium is this nice?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they get all kinds of donor money to renovate. It's always off season. It's always under some sort of construction.
Yeah.
And nice doesn't amount to the fact that there are not enough seats. Not everyone that wants to go to a baseball game gets to go to a baseball game. They're leaving money at the door.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sold out all the time.
Every game.
No way in. Yeah. So you're not wrong, man. It's definitely something to take care of it.
So we got to pay the players, man. How much should you pay them, you think?
That's what I was going to say, is because you can't say, well, let's go a different direction. Who decides what the players get played? Is it by conference, or is it NCAA minimum, or is it this is the amount of money you're allowed to give, and by damn, if you give him $1 more, see if you get a scholarship ever again?
Well, I don't know. I think that
we know some programs, Ole Miss, got caught for paying players big time a couple years ago, and they banned that coach for like 6 years or something.
How could you say? How could you tell? I don't even know. How could you tell Arch Manning, first year in college, his face is on the brand new NCAA football game that year, and that game sells 10 million copies? How do you tell him he's not entitled to $1 million?
So if you remember, Notre Dame won this lawsuit about 15 years ago, and they stopped making NCAA football the next year because they refused to do profit sharing.
But don't you imagine now that after the Supreme Court ruling, can't you see this being in the future?
I hope it comes out tomorrow. I don't like that.
Everyone wants to play NCAA football games again.
Yeah.
Or basketball, either one. I mean, they don't play them both.
Absolutely. Either one.
But I'm saying, if it sells 10 million copies because his face is on the cover, not because the game's good, I'm talking about it sells exponentially more because he's on the cover. How do you not give him $1 million and say you just get the 10 grand like everybody else does, the mad money and your housing, your insurance, and your pickup truck, whatever?
It's really easy to me. Go to Canadian football. Go work out and hope you're good enough.
What about the tennis player? What about the tennis player from a couple of years ago, man? Just was winning all the Grand Slams, everything through college, Mm-hmm. Their face was everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate, man, but like it is what it is. Rules are not made for Michael Jordan. They're made for Steve Kerr. They're made for the average player.
But right now we don't have any rules. We don't have any on this.
All rules are made for the average. They're not made for the exception.
Yeah.
And I do hear you, but sucks to suck. I don't know, man. Like at least it's a step
it sucks to suck. It's not right. It ain't right. It's not right that it hasn't been right before. All right. It hasn't been right in the past. And I think this is going to open up universities and it's going to open up the NCAA to the fact that they owe people money. If they sold a jersey with the name, oh my gosh, what was your running back from Dallas's name?
Oh my goodness, Darren McFadden.
Darren McFadden. If you look back at the Darren McFadden sales, and he says, "Hey guys, I need my 10% licensing fee." That was my name.
Hey, I have an old NCAA football, and on it he has the 501 tattooed across the bicep, and it says C4 doing C4 things, and that was one of the things Coach Nutt always said about it. And I'm like, someone should get paid for this. You literally took his direct quote.
I think this is going to open up.
So
and they need to get it over with. They need to do it now before it gets any worse, because it's just every year it just continually gets worse. They need to do it now. They need to say, you know what?
I disagree with your premise though, that whoever's on the cover should get paid more money just because what do you do for the next guy? Because you say, okay, well, Archie Manning's boy is going to get $1 million. And then it turns out he doesn't even start. Now you better pay that starter twice as much.
But that's what they do. You know, whoever gets on the cover of the NBA or the pro football, you know, the Madden, whoever's on the cover of Madden gets paid, man.
I didn't know that, but I believe you. It sounds right. That makes sense because you're literally the face of NCAA or face.
Who was the guy the other day, the running back or outside lineman or something? He said he's not spent a penny of his salary from pro football. He's only been living off of his endorsements.
I know that Jalen Smith, the Cowboys linebacker, he was the one that he had the drop foot injury right before he got drafted anyway, so he couldn't use his left foot for like a year and a half. And he asked Jerry Jones' advisor to help him like with his money or whatnot. And he lived on the signing bonus and the businesses he bought with it. And to this day, he's not used a penny of his money because he has NFL level advisors advising him. That's not norm.
You probably don't need 10. You probably don't need $10 million houses. Probably not.
Probably not. My point though is college athletes need to have advisors when you start giving them this ridiculous amount of money.
This is a multifaceted.
Because you know what's going to come up first. The moment you give those normal children who are 18 years old more money than their parents have ever seen, nothing good is going to come of it.
Right, but
for the average, the majority will probably do great things with it. But the number of cases of what the X are going to jump because you've given them unbelievable amounts of money. We see it with 18-year-old kids when they get a $25,000 a year paycheck.
Yeah.
And
I don't think you really hit the lottery. I think you hit the lottery if you get to go to U of A on a scholarship and you get to eat there and stay there and insurance.
I know people who went to UCA on scholarship and said they've had a better life than anyone else in their household. And they left with college, college tuition bills. So that's why I'm a little off, man, because you're talking about they're already getting so much more than the average person. And now you're saying that's not enough. And I agree it's not enough when the NCAA is a trillionaire off of this. But you got to be careful what you do and how you do it. Because once you make this a business, it's going to be a business.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes. And I also think, though, don't you think that once they're going to have to work out how much to actually pay the schools or pay the players, directly for the school, they're going to have to open the books up, can't you just kind of see some you've been making how much off of what?
Right. So I don't think the colleges should pay anything. And hear me out. I think the NCAA should contact Jeff, I don't know, whoever the athletic director is for every school, and say, hey, I need your monthly payment. And they're going to make monthly payment. That's right. You pay the NCAA, and then the NCAA sends each player a check that is from the NCAA. And it needs to be very clear to every player. If it does not come from us, if you get any money, if you do not immediately notify us, we seize all funds or we do whatever. And if you didn't do anything wrong, but you have been told, you have been warned. If you get a penny that's not from us, just know it's fraud. Because people are going to try to cheat the system now that you can pay people. And I know we're on a different facet of this, but college athletics are supposed to be even. Maybe it's not even how nice of a stadium I stay in, but no player is supposed to get any difference if you go to school at Camden or if you go to school at U of A or Ohio State. All players should be given equal ability, equal bonus. What do you call it? Equal whatever. Everything should be equal across the board. Only thing
there's no way it's even between Camden and Nashville. There's no way. Now they
I
may not be
know.
getting pickup trucks to drive or mopeds or something, like they do at Fayetteville, but it's not the same. I mean,
I'm
gosh
just
dang,
saying
man.
there's a limit to how many coaches you're allowed to have, how many players you're allowed to have, how many practices you're allowed to have, how many weight machines you're allowed.
I
If
understand,
there's this much strictness,
at some point it comes down to the facilities. I mean, if you can't pay them, then in the past it's come down to how nice facilities are.
sure.
And there's no way that it's even between
No,
some
facilities
backwoods
are good
school
with
in
that.
Texas and some backwoods school in
No,
Utah.
I'm just saying that it should be. You shouldn't be able to walk up and be like, "Oh, hey Ted, yeah, I understand you get paid $1,500 a month. We're gonna drop a bonus million on it. Where are you gonna go to school at?" Oh, well, I guess where the $1 million is at. Like,
Obviously they can't do that. But I don't know. How do you? It has to come down to what the sales are. What it sounds like anyway from the ruling is going to come down to your sales performance for your name.
but that's what's
If
gonna
somebody makes
happen.
money, off of Jason Gibson's name and they put it everywhere and they're making $10 million, you should be getting paid.
I
don't
agree.
care. I don't care if you're 10, but unfortunately, when you're a child, though, that would be kind of exploiting you by using your name until you're at some sort
Yeah,
of decision age.
but we're gonna see a separation of the NCAA because it's already laughable to some extent that these teams even compete against each other. It's going to be ridiculously a joke when the Alabamas of the world are now getting every 5 and 4 star player.
But do you think that they will? Because I'm
Yeah,
saying that up until now, the facilities have been the difference.
sure.
If tomorrow the facilities aren't the difference, maybe living at OSU is closer to my family and my girlfriend, and so I decided to go there and not go to Alabama. Why would I go to Alabama now? Because I'm going to get paid.
Because they're going to
Doesn't
walk
matter
into
what
your
school I
house
go
and
to, I'm going to
say,
get paid. My name
they're
is
going to
the
walk into the
same.
house and say, bro, I got 25 endorsements for you, Ted. Congratulations. You're going to sign me today and get a check tomorrow. You ain't got to wait to start college.
You're Jason Gibson. It doesn't make any difference what school you go to. You're going to get those endorsements.
Archie Manning will, but Billy Bob down the street will not. But Alabama's going to offer Billy Bob the same package.
I'm telling you, man, that I'm saying if you're good, if you're that level Archie Manning, it doesn't matter if you're Darren McFadden, who nobody's ever heard of from Arkansas. If you're that good, it doesn't make any difference where you go to school. You're going to get those endorsements.
I agree with you. Everybody in the top 50 is going to get those endorsements. Everybody in the top 100 is. But for teams that make their living on the top 100 to top 200, those players are now going to stop going to schools that are average and are only going to go to elite schools.
Why?
Because they're going to get the same endorsement deals as everybody else.
But I don't know. I just think they've been lured in because of the facilities or the dorms or something by some of these high dollar paid schools, and now that's not going to be the big draw. The big draw is going to be the check, but the check's not going to make any difference to where you went to school. You're going to get the check whether you're at this school or that school.
I know, but the check is going to be a different check. The endorsements are going to be millions. The check is going to be $1,500 or $2,000 a month.
You won't even live on campus anymore. Why would you even live on campus? You might stay in a team facilities during practice season or something, but
for a few.
Yes, I understand. But still, even if you just break down the pay for everybody, like the base pay, like if there's such a thing going to be like an NCAA base pay, and you get your scholarship money, well, you get that already, and you get fed 7 days a week. That's cool, and you get housing, and then we're just going to give you mad money of like $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. Man, if you're in school and you got everything paid for, food, lodging, medical, and now you got 10 grand, then you go buy a car.
So you're going to have the numbers that I'm seeing, that I'm hearing about, is that the average payment is going to be $1,500 a month. So yeah, about $15,000 a year. But the top 10, top 20% are going to be getting over $1 million in endorsements. All that means is that the upper top 10, 15 programs are just going to be even farther away from everybody else.
I got to wrap this up quick, but just a thought here. So last year we had a quarterback at Arkansas, some guy from Florida,
Yep. Felipe
He may
Franks.
never make a dime because he made poor
Sure.
decisions and he didn't go play at the NBA like he should have done, like
Yep.
we all told him to.
Yep.
Why shouldn't he have been? And now we're not maybe not talking about millions of dollars. Why shouldn't he last year have had endorsement checks from local businesses just because they had him come by? And because right now, when he comes to Fayetteville, he doesn't pay to eat. He's never paid
Sure.
to eat in Fayetteville. Nobody in town is going to charge him a dime.
Fleet,
But
yeah,
why
you're
shouldn't
right.
he get a $500 check or $1,000 check or drive Lewis Ford's pickup truck around? You know what I'm saying? He absolutely made the state proud. He won games.
I agree with you.
Some endorsements aren't Nike. Some endorsements are small. Some endorsements are just Lewis's enchiladas down the road. She's just proud. She wants to give him $100.
No, I agree with you. I'm not saying they shouldn't get endorsements. I'm just saying it's going to make the gap wider.
And
But you're
the
right.
truth is, there's probably multiple players at the university who are going to get endorsements now from local people like that. They're going to get endorsement checks from local people. They were getting them before. You just didn't know about it.
Right.
I mean, there's
Right.
people in this town. They go in. They kind of adopt them when they move to Fayetteville. They don't have kids at home anymore. They're rich anyway, and they go just adopt these kids more or less when they come to university. They call them university parents.
Really?
That's my university mom. Yeah, it's college dad. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder if that's unique to Arkansas. If that's just the deal.
I'm sure it's
'Cause that's
every
cool.
college in every town.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. No, I completely agree with you, Ted. Endorsements should have been done a long time ago because you're right. I wasn't saying endorsements shouldn't happen. It just frustrates me that and a thing that's supposed to be all equal and all about normal fair play, college is not that, and it never will be. And I can't complain so much because my Cowboys suck anyways, and their approach team offense are equal gross. But
Statistically, they can't suck forever.
man, what a show!
What a show! Island hopping, man. That sounds fantastic.
Dude, I can't wait when we come back here and I'm not working. We're just on vacation.
I don't know many people that are going like a working vacation, man. You just still like the peak right there, man. You can max to the top.
Could be work. I guess I could be doing this in like Turkey or something. No fun.
That's true. Yeah. Well, there's got to be fun stuff doing in Turkey.
Yeah, gotta be.
Yep. And paying players, man.
Paying players. I hope you agree with me, not Ted, me.
What? How do you know we have a different opinion?
You're right.
Well, hope you enjoyed the show. Come back, see us next week.